the meeting to order. Start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, we just come to you just to thank you for this great day you've given us to enjoy. And we honor Martin Luther King, the holiday today, and the things that he did for our country. We thank you for this council, and the decisions have to be made. Give everybody wisdom. Be with the city workers. They've been working outside in the cold the last several days, and keep them safe. In all this I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Barth.
Here.
Bassett.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Egley. Here. Martin.
Here.
Klepper.
Here. Have before you the January 3rd regular council meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Klepper.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Egley. Yes. Beverly.
You have before you the bills. Any questions, concerns? Quite a few pages, I see.
5 pages, a lot of bills.
Anybody got any questions?
Is that our final payout to Helen Brink? And then the Brown and Sons Electric, the 2100 for the water treatment plant chlorinator pavilion door, was that mostly COVID dollars that covered that for the pavilion door?
Pavilion doors.
Yeah, the 600 of that was out of pocket for the chlorinator.
Okay.
At the water plant.
And then the IFM for 575440, that was just their monthly invoice, or was that additional work?
Oh, is that the same as
Yeah.
last meeting? That's the same one that you'd asked about. It was, part of that was for the Defiance Avenue lift station repair, and it was for some sensors for the sludge tanks, the reprogramming of that PLC system. This is like a repeat of last meeting's deal from IFM.
That does not include their normal monthly.
So are we, if it's a repeat, so has that already been approved?
Yeah, this is the same number.
So we're paying
I
that
got
twice?
carried away. No, you're not paying it twice. You just got the report twice.
Okay.
My new ones would be the January of 2022.
Got the first 2 pages.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion before we vote? Roll call.
Beverly.
Yes.
Egley. Yes. Bassett.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Klepper.
Yes.
Next is the notice of public hearing. The Planning Commission will hold a hearing January the 2nd at 6 p.m. in the office of the zoning inspector to discuss a lot split at 119 East Smith Street. If anybody's interested in going to that. Okay, boards and commissions, there were none unless somebody has something to report. Okay, council committee reports. Water and Sewer Committee met January the 5th. Minutes are in the packet. Any comment on that?
Yeah, that was a marathon.
That was like a 3-hour meeting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, any questions on that? I don't know you're just going through the whole thing. Everybody looked at it. Any questions for the committee? Okay, personnel met January the 6th. Minutes are in the packet. same thing. Has anybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Any questions for Charlie and committee? Wow. Okay, moving on, administrators report?
Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to, the streetlight property met
Okay.
tonight, just before this meeting.
Okay.
You don't have any minutes, and I'll tell you why. I didn't make it. Eric, Tony, myself met. The church next to, I think it's Cornerstone Church, next to the park, was interested in buying 2 lots from the village. The pastor had spoke with the mayor turned it over to our committee. We met, we have no desires to sell any property, and we hope that full council feels the same way. So,
And if we did, we'd have to put it out for bid.
right.
Auction, yeah.
But we're, full committee
Okay.
said no, who knows what's gonna happen down the road.
Right.
We need to hang on to it.
Yep.
The village needs
So
to.
adjacent to the park, it isn't just out in the
Yes,
middle of nowhere.
exactly.
Okay.
exactly.
Any questions from the rest of the council on that? Okay, thanks.
And Mayor, would you wanna convey that on to
Yep.
the pastor?
Yep. I'll send an email Wednesday.
Okay.
Any other council committee reports? Okay, administrators report.
Let's see. Last week, met with Choice One, Defiance Avenue lift station. Went over some of their prints that they've got, and there's a couple different options that we're looking at. Obviously, we want to upsize the Oak Street storm line that runs through there. I think it's an 18 or 15. We want to go to a 24-inch. But they originally didn't have that designed. They have a dedicated line running to the plant, which we after looking at that, we really don't want to go that route. We want to go with upsizing Oak Street, which would take away any additional flow to the Ocean Street lift station. They also needed information on the Trident lift station, considering the new Vancrest facility. So they got all that information the next day. I gave them everything they needed to know in order to calculate the flows. They think the flows will be. Have not heard back from that. And why they were here, had also discussed with them taking over long-term control plan. So they are officially on board to working with the village for our long-term control plan, and we are actually going to, for the most part, rewrite and resubmit it to the EPA. So Proudfoot is no longer with us. Thursday the 6th, we did have a water main break on Chicago Avenue. Took us approximately 8 hours to complete that repair. And on the 14th, we had a service line leak out on Meadow Lane. Worked on that Friday, Saturday, and they've been on it since about 8:30 this morning, and they're still out there working on it. We did go off the GIS for the water main, and it was not correct. We don't really have any good prints for that addition out there. The bid posting for the wastewater treatment plant, to run that, went out for bid. It is on the OTCO, the OML, the AWWA website. The bid opening will be January 24th at 9 a.m. We are still looking for a wastewater superintendent. That is posted on those websites plus the Indeed website until January 31st. Today, Ron Daniels officially started. He's going to be working 3 days a week, from 12 to 4, 3 days a week. He was only in for an hour today because Lucas was off work today. Well, Wellfield pre-construction meeting is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And one last thing, when it comes to the Whirler contract, I had emailed back and forth with Michelle Ryder, And my personal opinion, I think we just need to stay at the 1331 until January 1st of 2022, and then renegotiate another 3-year deal with them.
2023.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, yeah, 2023.
What y'all think of that?
Did you run that by her, or is that? you
I
know,
told her it would be brought up we would discuss it.
and she was okay with that?
Yeah, I can go over quick emails here that I received from her. They're willing to lock in, if we sign up now with the 80-cent increase, they would lock it in for 3 years, right now.
Which would override the existing one that runs through the end of this year.
Correct. One caveat is fuel prices. So they might hit us with some surcharges that I have no idea what they'd be, and she never said what they would be. My personal opinion on surcharges, I'm not for them. I mean, everybody's paying more money for fuel. We pay more money for fuel in our village vehicles, and I think that's just part of doing business, in my opinion. But I think we should hang on to this contract that we have until January 1 of 2023.
If I recall, though, in our water sewer meeting, didn't that contract state that they had the right to raise rates within 30 days' notice, regardless of? So we don't really have a say in that, I don't think. If they want to, as far as the contract pricing goes. So I'd be curious what I mean, did she mention that?
She's willing to come in and have a discussion, but no, she just had emailed that, you know, if we wanted to take an 80-cent increase now, that they would lock that in for another 3 years. And, you know, with the fluctuation of fuel prices, I don't know.
Have they, because I assume the current contract probably has something to do with fuel prices in it too. Have they ever increased them? Because obviously the fuel price has been up and down over the last few years.
That I don't personally know.
I think they have they? They've never
No.
changed anything.
I never remember jacking the price.
I mean, I think that's in there to cover some crazy, you know, something happens.
$12 a gallon.
Something happens in the world or something, you know, some type of war or something like that, and all of a sudden it's $10 a gallon or something.
Continues that we're currently in.
Yeah, right.
So we're keeping the same price until the end of the year, is that what you said, Corey?
That's what I would recommend,
Okay.
to keep what we have.
Because they wanted to raise it up in August or July. They thought that's when the contract was up.
Yeah, it'd be January 1 of 2023.
And just go up to 80 cents and then locked in for 3 years.
That's what she was recommended to do that now, is what they wanted to do, is do a new contract right now with the 80 cents increase for 3 years.
Starting the 1st of next year.
Like as in right now.
They want to start,
Yeah, sign a new contract.
sign a new contract, go
Supersedes
forward.
what, so we're in contract till the end of this year.
And I guess just to preface all of that, our refuse ordinance is, at the beginning of this year, was set to bump anyway.
Right.
Based on those projections.
Went to 18, yes.
Yeah, so there is
Coverage for it.
coverage for their increase.
Okay.
Because as I recall, we've always collected more than what they charge us to cover those other things like
Right.
weed
Correct.
spraying, chipping, all that stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot done.
But you'd kind of ask her to go to the 80 cents and was hoping she would go up to the third year. And by the sounds of it, she would.
That's what I pressed her for, was to go the 3 years, because she only wanted to go to 2.
Yeah. Sound like she would go 3 at 80 cents.
But that contract still, at any time, they can raise it.
Well, and
They're gonna
see,
keep
that
that
was one thing we
stipulation.
wanted clarification on, was because it didn't say, it didn't say that their cost of employment was a reason for bumping it. So they had a list of reasons that would allow them.
Permit them to
That would
bump.
permit them
Right.
to bump, but rates of employment wasn't one of those options, and that was her primary reason for asking for the raise.
Right.
Or the increase.
Fuel and landfill costs were their main reasons for jacking on it. I'd like to see something settled, but I wouldn't settle, I don't think we should settle now. We're giving them 3/4 of a year.
Right.
We're giving that away, so So I guess I would go with Corey's suggestion and let it ride.
Right now, what it costs to build is $13.31. And January 1 of this year, it's $18. So if we waited until next year, it goes up $1 to $19. And then we could do an
Basically
80.
absorb it.
Yeah.
And ideally, she'll give us that earlier, so we know to budget accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully she comes back in
August.
August or September and,
Yeah.
and tells us what she wants to do for January.
Right.
Okay.
And maybe you can convey that to her and kind of ease the pressure on her not being able to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question for you. Different topic though.
Sure.
So when I wrote down two different dates. So when were applications being open for the sewer superintendent?
That is, we're not opening it for the superintendent, it's for the bid to run the plant.
Oh, okay.
So we had to put it out for
That's what I
bid
wrote
since it's
down.
over a certain dollar amount, which is
Okay.
January 24th,
Okay.
9 AM.
Okay.
This is more just more information for me, but in the instance that like we let Proudfoot go, how does that work? Do they just take over the remainder of the contract, or?
We didn't have a contract.
So we had no contract with Proudfoot? So did that, what exactly did Choice One base their acceptance on, I guess, with the long-term control plan? Like, did they have to put a number together, a scope of work and all that stuff?
Can I address that?
Sure.
I went to that meeting. The issues with Proudfoot, Lee Roush knew a lot about our town, you know.
Yeah.
Well, when they felt more comfortable, if we have to write our long-term control plan and get a new updated version to EPA, we thought we better stick with one firm to write it all in one group and all of our projects, instead of having, you know, Proudfoot do that and Choice One doing this. We can work with one company. I thought it was wise. Kent was there, I think, were you there, Matt?
No.
But,
How much of this is gonna be repetition and we're gonna pay twice to have it done?
well, Proudfoot, we didn't have a contract with. Choice One, we asked them, you know, if they would be interested, because that's coming up deadlines, or we're moving quickly on that. And we said, hey, if we're gonna have to rewrite it anyway, which is EPA's push, because we're making some changes to the plan, and they're not, northeast neighborhood out that direction isn't huge. We asked them to take a look at it before they would even accept changing that scope or whatever. Like I said, we already had AMHT do it. We've had Proudfoot look at it. Now we've got Choice One looking at it, you know, basically all these years. But.
That's what I say, how much more are we gonna spend? Just,
Right.
Well, and I guess what's our agreement with Choice One?
They haven't come back with a contract on
Yeah,
that.
no, I'm hoping that, they should have it to me by the end of this week,
So,
proposal.
okay. So that's based on what scope, though? Is it just rewriting long-term control plan phase 2? And we're keeping phase 3?
It'd be phase 2 and 3.
EPA
I
kind
mean,
of said if you're.
for the most part, it's gonna be, for the most part, the same thing. We're focusing on that northeast neighborhood.
Correct, which we already have 2 of the 4 done. And the EPA, based on our water sewer meeting, we had 2 of the 4 things done. EPA was saying we would like this done. Proudfoot was working on something to say, a letter basically saying we shouldn't have to rewrite this, we're not changing this. And now we're done with Proudfoot and Choice One's taking over based on what, I guess? Like, what are they? I mean, so we're just going with the EPA to rewrite the whole.
The one issue that we have is like the Shaw Terrace, Arthur Street, like that Lee Roush.
No, I understand those things. But I guess so are they writing their own scope and then also assigning the value to those things? Because at least where I understood was we were still negotiating with the EPA on whether or not we had to rewrite the long-term control plan.
We just felt like we weren't getting anywhere with Proudfoot, trying to like amend some of the long-term control plan. And they were just, in my opinion, almost impossible to work with. It's like we just kept going in circles. For the most part, we're still on that same track as you mentioned. I just think we'll we'll be better off with choice one, rather than having to switch gears every time we go and speak to a different engineer. Proudfoot, you know, like after speaking to Kent, if it wouldn't have been for Lee.
They wouldn't have got it, yeah.
Correct.
So I guess back to the question, is choice one giving us a number to negotiate with phase two, or are they assuming they're rewriting the whole long-term control plan for phase two?
Right now, they're gonna give us a number
For what?
to do the phase two and then the phase three.
So to completely rewrite phase two?
Not completely rewrite, just to amend some of the phase two, which is like the pond. Like EPA wants to see, you know, why the village thinks doing Maple Lane would be more beneficial than doing the pond. And it was, you know, obviously it's not going to correct any CSO issues that we have by putting a pond in. So yes, I don't wanna say we're completely rewriting it, but it is kind of a rewrite. You know, the dates will probably end up still being the same. Northeast neighborhood probably will be pushed back a year. That's what we're also asking for, that to go back a year and then move up the Defiance Avenue lift station by a year. Because we're supposed to start construction on that in 2026. We'd like to move it to like 2025.
But choice one's changed a lot of the scope of the Defiance lift station too, within, you know, the project and the EPA, what we started, what we gave them. I mean, it's gotten a lot bigger,
Oh, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
I'm not questioning the decision. I'm just
Right.
curious on what are they bidding, or I guess what are they submitting a number on? Is it basically just assuming that, and are they providing like an hourly rate or like a lump sum that says,
It
here,
would
this
be a
is what
lump
we're.
sum.
Okay.
Because they'd have to re-engineer it if they're gonna change everything with the EPA.
And that's where I guess I'm
They
getting
can't
into
just
the
hand them
question.
Proudfoot prints and go, we'll do that, except we wanna do this. Can't happen.
When that's where I'm kind of curious with dollar values and how are we going to get into some trouble by not taking this out to bid, and especially if we didn't have a contract.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the dollar values, I mean, what you're talking about is the cost, I mean, I guess to look at it as the cost for rewriting the long-term control plan. If that's less than the threshold, then obviously we don't have to bid it. We can do it. It doesn't matter how, obviously the projects all cost way more than
Correct.
the threshold. But if it's, yeah, I mean, it's got to be under that amount. I thought what you were getting at is, I mean, I guess it's a new plan being submitted, whether they take the information and modify it into their own, you know, whatever. But I guess I didn't understand, with the long-term control plan, there is like engineering and prints that go along with that, or is that just because they got to show, here's this project and here's how much water we think it'll take out of the system, or here's whatever. So yeah, if they're doing that, then there is going to be some.
and we talked about metering and everything, you know, we've
Right,
had,
yeah.
you know, this is just a bigger, kind of maybe could be a bigger problem than just changing engineers or having one engineer do it. You know, a lot of they want to see numbers a lot of the times. Well, we've had Gene Rigby for years run numbers, but Gene has passed. We've got the meters, but nobody's been reading them. I'm just saying, you know. If we need numbers, we were asking choice one, is that something they can handle and get numbers to us using past data from Rigby's stuff? And they thought they could. And then compiling, like I said, we were concerned using two different engineers at this stage moving forward than just getting choice one to finish the Defiance and then northeast neighborhood out there with the Kingsbury Miller area.
Well, all of that work's still going to have to get bid out anyway. It's not like that's a choice one for sure
Right.
project.
Right.
Correct.
So there's a chance we could still have a separate engineer working on that.
Right.
We asked them to submit it, you know, see if they'd be interested, and they said they were gonna get back to Corey. That's the last I heard, so I didn't know if they had gotten back to you, but we could ask for, you know, a cost on rewriting that plan. But like I said, they're still working on the Defiance lift station too, with changes that Kent and Corey had sent them back kinda on.
Well, and if they submit something to Corey and say, hey, we'll rewrite the plan, it's going to cost $150,000, obviously
Oh, sure.
we can't do it. We
Right.
got to bid it out.
Well, that's what
They may ultimately end up being who gets it because they've been involved and other people may not want to jump in, but still, it's that, still gotta do it. It's
Has anybody-
starting over again.
Does the EPA know that Proudfoot's no longer,
Yes.
and are they? Because obviously, based on our current long-term control plan, we still have to have shovels in the ground by July, right?
I think we have to be ready to put the shovel in the ground. We have
I
to
believe
have
the
it on
project
paper.
had to start on
Mhm.
July this year.
Mhm.
So if we have to go through, write a whole new long-term control plan, are they up to speed with all that?
Some of it, you know, like, I spoke obviously with Kent, and we've already started typing up. We were this morning, we've got a good portion of how we'd like to have it modified.
Mhm.
And then choice one will kind of, you know, we'll send it to them, they'll review it. And then choice one, who is representing the village, will submit that to the EPA. So it's technically, they are not rewriting it, we are kind of doing, we would do it like in-house, send it to choice one, and they submit it to the EPA.
Correct, I guess, but the EPA is aware of the
Yes.
shift of engineers and
Yes,
everything that,
yes.
isn't it? Okay.
Yep, there's been quite a few emails that I went back and forth.
So then in actuality, they're not gonna do any engineering, they're just gonna write this and get the EPA happy, and then we'll have to go through re-engineering it afterwards, after the
Yeah.
EPA accepts it.
Mhm.
I guess I can live with that.
Yeah, because like out there at Maple Lane, there really hasn't, there's no prints on it from Proudfoot, there was no engineering, no nothing. There was one site visit that cost us $1,400. Other than that, that's really, we don't have any data or any information from Proudfoot.
I got a question for you. When we were in our meeting, it was discussed and you brought up about the, not the weirs, but some of the piping that's down there at the plant as it comes in at the head end where it's recycling water. Millions of gallons, you thought, several million.
At the, yeah.
And I don't know about the rest of it. I said, that has to be fixed immediately. Have you got anybody fixing that?
Lucas and Cameron were working on it. I'm actually waiting to see numbers, because this was something that they had, that IFM had found. Neil Pry had found it. Last I spoke to Lucas, he said the numbers, the daily log numbers had come down, but I don't know how much they've come down.
But it's not, but is the problem fixed?
Is the arm reattached?
No.
The paddles are cut down or whatever.
He hasn't had the weather to work on it yet.
To drain them down and get Caleb in?
Mhm.
And he's
Caleb
playing,
had come out and looked at it, but yeah, the weather hasn't been cooperating with him.
That's in a building, isn't it?
Hmm?
That's in a building, isn't it?
It's out there in those clarifiers, right outside there.
Hell. When I worked construction, I worked out there year round. Didn't make any difference what temperature it was, especially when you're recycling several million gallons of water a day.
We are hiring a wastewater superintendent.
Take the test.
I would, but you'd be pretty foolish to hire a 68-year-old guy.
Okay, any other questions for Corey? You got anything else to report? Good questions, though.
I do have a citizen that came forward and said that the truck route needs to be redirected now that the viaduct's fixed. It's still going to Nemco and cutting over. Shouldn't it just go through the viaduct now that it's been raised?
No.
not raised high enough.
It's not high enough.
No, it's still not high enough.
They raised it a foot, but still not.
Okay.
We wished it was, but they didn't raise it high enough.
I'll have that. That's a no.
Most trucks will go under it.
Well, that's out of our control.
was gonna say, yeah.
That's just- They did that all on their own, right?
Yeah, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Corey? Any other questions for the administrator? Okay,
Actually, sorry, that was it. Where did they come in at the Defiance Avenue lift station? So we've got two options. Do we need to have a meeting and kind of discuss what the project scope is? Dollar values?
They didn't discuss any dollar values.
Okay, so they haven't.
They had a projected cost there, but after you guys talked to them and everything, they were gonna go back and kind of change it up a little bit because Kent says this is overdone. I said, way overdone.
Every time they touch it, it grows.
Yeah, we backed them off. We said that if we're gonna spend that kind of money, we don't need to, running the upsizing the line and no force main, I believe, right?
Right.
Gravity flow.
So they still had a force main in there?
Yep.
And I don't know how many months it's been since Choice One had been here for a meeting, because I've been here, what, 7, 8 months. That's the first I've met with those guys.
Like last time they were up here is when they, right after they found the sewer line that ran, the rogue sewer line.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the last time they were up here.
That was back in the summer.
And they're addressing that, down Defiance Avenue, but heading towards the plant with all that separation, that was a lot of work, a lot of money.
And I will say, since Darren Brown put those variable amperage overloads and stuff in there, no issues.
Do that a little harder.
Yeah. And
Okay.
when you were looking at the Trident flows, you got all the numbers from Van Crest Engineers as far as their projected flows?
We did not get it from Zacharias Engineers. We gave Choice One, how many, we would count like 70, 72 beds or something like that. And they have their own calculation for healthcare
Facility,
facilities like
that's
that.
Correct, but do we have their site plan or anything? Like just to know what that looks like? Okay.
Because it's under state regs and everything, they don't have to turn anything into the village, but I think even if we have to make a ordinance resolution or something, I think they should have to turn in something to the village that lets us know.
Well, if they're planning on using our utilities, we should have an
Exactly.
idea
Yes.
what they're putting in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they will. I'm not concerned about that.
But I think we should look at doing this as a set rule. If somebody comes in and wants to do something like that.
Before this part of the stage of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it'd be helpful, especially as we're redesigning the sewer system to know
Exactly.
exactly, what size of sewer line do
You
they,
know, if they're planning,
what are they doing with all their stormwater?
well, that's an ordinance that they already have to show us what they're doing. That's already an ordinance.
They're putting in a tile out front. State.
Yeah, but it can't be where, if you wanna know this, you gotta go ask Ron. It's gotta be in writing. It's gotta be so that we can all open it up to this page and go, oh, okay, I see they're
That's what's going
running,
on, yeah.
running an 8-inch tile down to the creek there. That's what we need.
Okay.
And it's put in our system, and that's why when they start digging for something someday, and they go,
Exactly.
oh, it's there, yeah, we find it on the prints, kind of thing. Makes sense.
Okay, good questions,
So
concerns.
somebody's gonna have to tell them that, because it's not a written rule currently, but
I have a contact.
sure, that'd be
Mr.
great. Nothing, no reflection on them and how they're doing anything, just that we need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not gonna be a problem. I'll make a contact.
That'd be great.
And I think we should make sure that that information gets to choice one.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And any plans that they have for future growth, if they're thinking, hey, 10 years down the road, then we're gonna put supported living or something back here, something so
They
that
don't have
we,
enough land for that.
but just so we
Yeah, I'll
know.
make a contact.
Sure.
Okay, any other
With that, I
questions?
think I'm done, Corey.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, solicitors report. You're up, Troy.
First thing's ordinance 2022-01. First reading by caption only, and ordinance to amend the annual appropriations ordinance and declare it an emergency. You got questions? That's the person next to me.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second. Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yep.
Clipper,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Second, third readings, ordinance 2022-01 by caption only, an ordinance to amend the annual appropriations ordinance as an emergency.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Beverly,
Yep.
Egley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Clipper.
Yes.
And next is Resolution 2022-01, first reading by caption only, a resolution submitting to the electors of the Village of Hicksville the question of the renewal of an existing 2 mil tax levy for fire protection services and emergency medical services and declaring an emergency. The emergency being we got to get it done so we get it on the ballot. Suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yep.
Egley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Second, third readings of Resolution 2022-01 by caption only, a resolution submitting to the electors of the Village of Hicksville the question of the renewal of an existing 2 mil tax levy for fire protection services and emergency medical services and declaring an emergency.
So move.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
And Resolution 2022-02 by caption, first reading by caption only, a resolution declaring services to be provided to the territory, including 8.452 acres proposed for annexation, and declaring an emergency. The emergency on this is the statute requires that we got to pass this. I think it's within 15 days of when they submitted it to the village, so.
Make a motion.
You want to suspend the rules?
Suspend the rules.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Beverly,
That's for Vancrest, right? Correct. Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
So Resolution 2022-02, second, third readings by caption only, a resolution declaring services to be provided to territory, including 8.452 acres proposed for annexation, and declaring an emergency.
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
The only other thing I got is I did get to Somebody's going in. Tony last week a proposal as far as the background check legislation. It's my understanding from talking to her tonight that the committee's gonna get together sometime here soon and look at that, and we're gonna, just so everybody knows, we're gonna try and move on that. Whatever they decide or whatever, but we're gonna try and move on that somewhat expedited only because of the baseball season approaching, and I know they're getting people signed up and coaches and all that stuff or whatever, so, that's in the committee's hand.
Any questions for our solicitor? Okay. Department heads, police.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Any questions for Doc? Okay. Fire and EMS, he's not here, so Park Director, they're not here. Cheryl, you're up.
You have two fund status. One is as of December 31st, and then the other one is as of today, after paying all those bills. You also have the December Mayor's Court Report, the 2021 list of permits and applications from the Zoning Department. You have the list of the real estate taxes we're paying and a list of all our properties that are village-owned, with a comparison of last year, 2020. You have the cemetery report. They have their cash flow report for 2021, and on the back is their budget for 2022. And then finally, I have the notice, well, next to the finally, I have a notice from Alight Petroleum and the Liquor Control Board in Columbus. They want to have a new liquor permit issued because there's none available for Hicksville. So it'll be in addition to what we already have. Because I bought the BP station and they want it for there. So we have the option to go to the hearing if we want to protest. We don't want them to get a liquor license.
They're not picking up the one the BP had?
They won't sell it.
No.
Oh, Lassett's hanging on to it.
No, it was a concern, but they won't sell.
That's good news, too.
So if everybody's okay with it, I'll send the paperwork in. Otherwise, you can go down to the hearing and protest it.
Who wants to volunteer? Go down.
I've got no reason to protest.
My old neighborhood.
Okay, any questions for Cheryl on
So
all this she reported?
This is okay to go.
We have to vote on it, you say, or not? No.
No, I mean, if nobody's got any objection, then it just happens.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's D1 and 2, so it's the same operation
Send it in whether we're
that
gonna go.
BP, the existing BP had.
I mean, I guess you could take a voice vote or whatever to see if
No Sunday
anybody
sales
wants to go.
and, that's about it. I move we take a vote and say we back that.
You're making the motion?
Yes, sir.
Second? Any discussion after the second?
What happens to the existing liquor license?
They can hold that, and they can do what they call put it in safekeeping, and they can only do that for a limited time because you can't really have a license that's not attached to a physical location. And so while there's business transitions and things like that, there's a process where you can apply to the state and they submit them, and safekeeping basically means they don't expect you to be reporting any sales tax or anything because you're not doing any business under it. But I don't know what the specifics are, but you can only do that for so long before you either have to have a new physical location that you're gonna use it at, or transfer it to somebody that's gonna use it at a different location and everything like that. So I have no idea. I think the suspicion maybe is if they kept it or whatever, and maybe they're interested in a new location. Which would have to be within the village because they're tied to municipalities, townships, things of that nature. So it wouldn't necessarily do them any good to be building a new station wherever, Defiance, and saying they're gonna use it over there. They could, but it's a very expensive proposition to do that because you gotta there's a fancy way to transfer them in or so. I don't know if they have that. Read into that what you want, I guess, but.
Okay, any discussion on that? Are you ready to vote on, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I have a second. I'll second that.
Okay, roll call?
Barth?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Mhm.
Klepper?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Egley?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions that Cheryl brought up?
Oh, I have one more.
No?
Everybody got this, and you can choose if you want to go to this seminar, any of the three. They're all the same. You have the agenda on one side and the letter about it on the other. Let me know so that I can set it up and get it paid. It's one day on a Saturday. It used to be the new councilman, but now it's they made it more general so the old folks can go too.
The old.
But new ones have to.
You don't have to.
Okay.
We like you to.
I'm planning to go, take a Saturday and go, there's some interesting things on there I need to learn more on. On the other side, there's pretty good stuff there. Okay, anything else, Cheryl?
Nope, just make sure you let me know
Questions for
before the
her?
deadline.
Okay. The only thing I have is commissioners are not going to have a tear down houses like they did this year. They're still wanting to be tore down, the Coleys. But they're not gonna do it this year, but the state gave Defiance County $500,000. So anybody that's interested only have till the end of the month. Don't have much time, but they'll do garages, houses, commercial buildings. Get with Mike.
Is that through the
Bailey.
land bank?
Yeah, through the land bank and Maumee Valley.
Right.
Got to take a picture. And Mike will help anybody, this is to the public. There are some buildings out there that need to come down. And, what'll, cheap, but $500,000. It'll be spread out. So it's on our village website, I know that. And you put it was in the paper about a month ago. But if anybody knows if anybody needs a building tore down, there's money out there.
I was gonna say, yeah, you might. You gonna have a nuisance board meeting?
What?
Nuisance board meeting?
Do we need to?
I asked you to last meeting.
About, yeah, about the house at Bono that was burnt. I talked to Mike, and he sent a letter to him, and he's working on it, yes.
There's a house on Chicago too,
Yeah.
down by Westwood, has tree growing out the back of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, one on High Street, it's got garbage all,
East side?
yeah, he's
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, Ken, I'll talk to Mike and get one set up. But that house that burnt, they're working on that.
That's what
He
they
sent a
said.
letter, I know, but needs,
But there's a multitude of, as you just heard, there's a multitude of things that we,
sure, that's what it's
So-
for.
so I'll ask you to do it again.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll put it on my list to do. Okay, that's all I got. Anything else that needs to become for this council?
Wait, what, to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call?
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Pepperly,
Yes.
Klepper,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
There, Larry.